Hey Josephine, so I talked in my last video about falling in love with the music, or loving the music that we do, and I figured that I would. It's really hard to do these videos without a partner for me, and I figured that I would take one week and just do something a little bit more conceptual. One of the best things that I ever did for my dancing was to fall in love with the music. And it's nothing that ever clicked for me with Lindy Hop. For whatever reason, I never got exposed to this concept with regard to big band music, and my hope is to go back and do a little bit more of that. The place that I got exposed to it was with the blues, and blues music, and blues history, and blues culture. And I think that really it came about just because I have a friend, his name is Kevin Solanic, and he is, if you know Kevin, he's just awesome. You know this. He's a great blues dancer. He also plays blues harmonica. And I made a side comment to him at some point, and I said, gee, I'd really like to learn to play blues harmonica. And he said, hey, check this guy out. And he directed me to this guy named Adam Gusso, and who's also an amazing guy. It turns out that he is not only a blues harmonica player, but he's also a professor of Southern Studies at Ole Miss, and all kinds of fascinating. But he did this really cool series, which I pulled, I extracted the audio from the series of YouTube videos, and it's called Blues Talk. I burned them to CD. I've sent multiple copies of these things to other blues dancers in the community. And I maintain copies in both MP3 and standard CD format in the dance library that I have here at my house. And it was a 12-lecture series of blues history and blues culture, and it was fascinating. He talked about the political situation, he talked about the cultural situation, he talked about the ramifications of slavery, he talked about the heritage of the music and the pedigree of who influenced who, and how it tied in with life, and all of these really fascinating things, and it just made everything come alive for me so much more. He has a book out, Seems Like Murder Here. It's about Southern violence and the blues tradition. Violence is a theme that we see a lot play in the music. He introduced me to important names in history, such as Alan Lomax. Alan Lomax was one of the great music historians who went out and did field recordings of the blues, and we owe him a lot for getting kind of that information out. There's so many books out there that you can find to read up on kind of the context that this music comes from in terms of blues. And I'm talking about blues because that's the one that I have the most exposure to in this regard. Jukin is a good one. This talks about, again, the kind of history of blues and how it grew up. It's by Katrina Hazard-Gordon. She draws some beautiful pictures of the places that these people would go and dance, and where you would hear this music at the different times in life and how that affected things. Blues People is a really interesting book that I'm in the middle of right now, and it focuses a lot more on African American culture, African American history, the context in which blues came out of there, and how it played into the culture, and kind of how it influenced things there. In terms of the music, I mean, it's a lot harder to talk about. I mean, music is music. You've kind of got to feel music, and without going into all of the technicality of stuff, it's harder to kind of go into pedigree stuff. But a really useful resource for me has been this, and it's big, but it's the All Music Guide to the Blues, and you can get these on Amazon. You can get these all over the place, and you can get older copies if you're looking for a cheaper version. But in here is just biography. Hello. It's biography after biography of all of these great blues musicians. And it tells you how they grew up, what records they recorded, and all kinds of stuff. And then in the back there are essays. There are essays like, oh gosh, this is my favorite. This is the one that I've been working my way through, The Roots of the Blues. And it builds you these music maps, and they're wonderful. That talk all about the history of the different styles of blues and who played in which styles, right? Because you have Delta blues and Piedmont blues and jug bands, classic women blues singers, early Chicago blues, jump blues, Louisiana blues. Guys, not enough DJs play Louisiana blues. Because there's this guy, and his name is Professor Longhair, and he's the one like Louisiana blues player that I've found a lot on and have gotten a lot of his music. And it's fun, and it's a blast, and it's so Louisiana. But there's this whole, I mean, blues harmonica, blues harp, Memphis blues, songsters, piano blues, all, and then obviously there's overlap between the focus on the different instruments and the different areas. But there are essays on each of these that talk to you about how they grew up, what their influences were, what the best examples of each of these styles are in terms of discographies. And I mean, you can just go through them and go out and find the music and listen to it and understand this whole family of music that the dancing grew up with. Because in the end, the dancing is all about our participation in the music. And that's why this is the best way that I've found to appreciate music. I don't sit and listen to music well, but if I can dance, I'm a part of it all of a sudden, and I'm an active part of it. So I really cannot encourage other dancers enough to go out and find out more about the music and to learn about its history and to learn about its pedigree. Explore it, find out what you love about it, because it'll make all the difference in your dancing. When I embraced blues and started investigating the culture and finding more music and discovering it and enjoying it, my blues dancing got so much better without me having to sit down and formally practice at all. I just started listening to it all the time because I wanted to, right? Blues music does not seem like what you would want to listen to when you're going for a run, right? You want workout music, you know, Eye of the Tiger, or I don't know, AC/DC. I listen to blues because it's awesome and I enjoy it. So do it. Listen to more blues music. Listen to more swing music.